Don't mind her annoyed face, she just suffers from irritable owl syndrome. Hi guys, it's Em, and today I am back with another creature feature, the series where every week I bring you a new animal to focus on and tell you a whole bunch of facts that you may or may not know about the animal. If you haven't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below to show your love for the channel. You can also find me over here on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and YouNow. So there, yeah. Oh, I did that in one take. Today I want to introduce you to Mooy. Step up. Good girl. This gorgeous, incredible girl is Mooy. Mooy is not a pet owl, she's a working owl. So she actually lives at my work. She's only home with me tonight just so I can do this video. And her job is to come into schools and to assist us in giving educational talks. I also have forgotten my glove at work, so she's on my hand. She doesn't want to hurt me, she's just sitting here. But on shows, we don't allow anyone to hold the owls without actually wearing a glove. Mooy is a southern white-faced scops owl, and she comes from sub-Saharan Africa. Mooy is actually 10 years old. There is speculation that the oldest living southern-faced scops owl reached 30 years old. I don't know if that is entirely true because I can only find one source for it, but I will let you know in another 20 years time if Mooy is still around. Obviously their lifespan in the wild is much shorter than it would be in captivity, because in captivity she doesn't have to worry about illness because she has access to a vet, and she doesn't have to worry about predators trying to eat her. Mooy is a nocturnal bird, so that means she wakes up at night time, though they are opportunistic. So if they're hungry, they may venture out in the daytime as well in order to find some food. It's just coming up to sundown now, so number one, she's gonna start to wake up, and number two, my lighting's probably gonna get really weird, so I'm really sorry. The white-faced scops owl is a predator. They will eat rodents and small birds as well as insects. However, they're quite lazy. They tend to prefer to perch. So other birds of prey, for example a kestrel who you'll see hovering and really looking around for food, will actively hunt for their prey and really go for it. Whereas Mooy and a lot of other owls are quite lazy. She'll pretty much just perch there and wait for food to come close enough to her, then she might fly down and go and get it. But they are quite a lazy bird. Great, just jump on my camera, why don't you? Step up, step up, step up. Don't give me that back chat, thank you. Now for ages, we thought that Mooy was a boy. There's actually not very much sexual dimorphism between the genders. So males and females look very similar. Sexual dimorphism is when you can tell the genders apart. A really great example of sexual dimorphism occurs in the Echollectus parrot. So here we can see a male Echollectus parrot, and then over here, a female Echollectus parrot. You can see they're clearly very different. There's really distinct sexual dimorphism, whereas with these scops owls, there's not very much sexual dimorphism. In fact, the only real way to be able to determine the gender, unless they start laying eggs, is to have a feather tested in a laboratory. They'll be able to run some tests and to let you know whether the gender is male or female. With Mooy, we just assumed that she was a male for a long time, and then one of our colleagues went to start working at a big zoo where he specialized in birds, and we found out that by introducing a special light into their enclosures, even for the nocturnal creatures who might not necessarily want or need as much natural sunlight, it would make them healthier. And within weeks of introducing the two scops owls at work to this new light, they both started laying eggs. So it meant that they were much healthier and their bodies were working as they should as females. So Mooy is in fact a female, even though we thought that she was a boy for a really long time. Mooy, are you on my tripod? I have to swing you around so you can see. You are just a very naughty owl, do you know this? Let's talk about some of Mooy's features. Can you see these feathers up here? They're called ear tufts. They're not actually ears. Her real ears are tiny little holes which are actually underneath the feathers, and they are ever so slightly asymmetrical, meaning that one of her ears is about here and the other one is slightly lower, and this enables her to hear things that are above and below. These are not her ears. These are ear tufts. They're more like eyebrows. They let us know kind of what she's thinking. If they're really raised, she can point them up almost like horns. That means she's really alert. But sometimes if she's really relaxed, they'll be quite flat. At the moment, she's just kind of in a new environment. There's a light over here. She's not in familiar surroundings, but she's not scared, so they're just kind of semi up there. Another amazing feature are those eyes. Now, owls' eyes are so big and their skulls are so small that there isn't any space behind the eyes for any eye muscles. So for us, if we want to glance to the left or to the right or up or down or all the way around in a circle, it's really, really easy. Mooy can't do that. Mooy physically has to turn to look at things if she really wants to see what's going on. Now, those eyes are really good for seeing far away, but everything close to her is a blur. She can't see her own feet and she can't even see my hand. Mooy's eyes are a lot like ours. She's got this big, beautiful black iris, and that should contract and relax in order to let more light in if she wants to be able to see more in the dark, or to become smaller if there's a lot of light and she doesn't need as much light to go in. Look at Mooy's eyes. One of them is darker than the other. This one over here, for some reason, is a birth defect, and I can't remember the name. I'll have to put it in here somewhere, but it basically means that her pupil is constantly dilated. It doesn't worry her too much. She still has fantastic vision, but that pupil is always, always dilated. White-faced scops owls were famous on YouTube a while back, and the reason why they shot to fame is because they're also known as the transforming owl or the transformer owl. If she is really scared by something or not sure about something, she can do two things. Either she can puff herself up, you know, like a cat when they get really scared, they can make all their hairs stand on end and appear larger. Well, she can do that with her feathers. She can really bend down and open her wings and do this really crazy dance like this to try and ward predators away. Or if there's something really big and she's not sure about it, she wouldn't be able to take it on and she'd just rather hide, she can suck all her feathers in to make herself super, super skinny. She closes her eyes so you can't see those amazing orange eyes of her, and she kind of pulls her feathers round to the side, a bit like a Dracula cape. If you imagine someone going like mwah, and tries to camouflage against whatever she's near. Usually it's a tree or branches, because that's where they spend the majority of their time. The way that we feed Mooy is she mostly eats chicks, and we buy these frozen. They get delivered to us, and then we thaw them out throughout the day till they're nice and squishy, and then she can have them. But we do change it up, so she does sometimes get frozen thawed mice. Again, we buy them in frozen and then we thaw them out and feed them to her. And sometimes, because we have so many animals that eat insects at work, some of these insects escape. She's really good at hopping down onto the floor and capturing any of the loose crickets that may have wandered into her enclosure. Something nice that you don't hear every day is that these guys are not endangered. They are listed as of least concern, which means there's a really big, healthy population of white-faced scops owls, which I'm very glad to hear about, Mooy, aren't you? Yes. Look at that. Can you see that? She's really moving her head around. She wants to gain a good picture. Yes, that is a moth. Are you going to go and eat it? Now, when it comes to the business of raising chicks, you need somewhere to lay your eggs. And these guys are not famed for their nest building abilities. What she'll do is she will find an abandoned nest or a hollowed out tree, and usually they lay between 2 and 4 eggs. She would sit on those eggs and incubate them for about a month, about 30 to 31 days. Then after 30 or 31 days, those little owlets will hatch, and they are the ugliest things you have ever seen. If you've ever seen baby owls, they are basically all feet and beak. They're not particularly nice looking. They do grow up to be very regal looking, but it's very much a case of the ugly duckling. Scops owls are very good parents. The male will stick around and will take turns with the female, looking after the chicks, and they will both take turns in bringing food back. So all sorts of small rodents, smaller birds, and insects as well. The owlets will just scoff as much food as they can, as much as mummy and daddy can bring back to them, and then after another month, so another 30 or 31 days, they're ready to fledge. And that means they're ready, they've got their feathers, they're ready to take their first flight and to go and try and become independent. Even though the owlets are able to leave the nest and to start exploring after about a month, they do depend on their parents for about 2 weeks after. Like most other owls, these owls are not particularly social with their own kind, and they spend the vast majority of their time living alone. Just like wolves, ravens, foxes, black cats, owls have been subject to lots of different folklore. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. Where Mooy comes from, it used to be believed that they were witches, so they were actually feared and persecuted. However, in Western culture, owls are thought of as being a symbol of wisdom and of knowledge. Now, I know I'm going to get the question, that I'm asked about almost every animal I feature on my channel. Do they make a good pet? How much do they cost? Where can I buy one? They're really not the brightest crayons in the box. They're not particularly smart. Even on the set of Harry Potter, the people who were training the owls said it took months to be able to train owls to do the smallest thing like carrying a letter, because they're really not built for using a lot of their grey matter. They're just very beautiful, and that's okay. That's okay. Now, for any fellow Harry Potter fans, House Gryffindor!
I am House Gryffindor because Pottermore tells me so.
You may have remembered when Ron got his new owl, Pigwidgeon. Well, Pigwidgeon in the movies was depicted by a white-faced gops owl. So I would love to be able to call you Pigwidgeon, but this is Mooy. It's pig. Pigwidgeon. Hey, Pigwidgeon. Mooy can also make lots of different vocalizations. Let's see if I can get her to do her little feeling, slightly annoyed clicking sound that sounds like a purr. Did you hear that? I've been so touched by all of your letters. I read every single one of them, and I just wanted to shout out 2 members of the Creature Crew so far whose things that I have received. And first of all, I wanted to just shout out Ava for this beautiful, just cutest, most lovely picture ever. It even has my centipedes in a little flap over here with my EpiPen. Feast your eyes on that. That is a cool drawing, isn't it? And I also want to shout out to Amanda as well, because Amanda sent me this adorable picture of a little baby crested gecko, which I absolutely love. And everything from letters and pictures, I'm going to put all of them up on my wall because I love every single one. Thank you all so much. You gonna go? I thought so. Thank you all so much for tuning in to watch this creature feature. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you found it really informative. Let me know in the comment section down below if you learned something new. Thanks again so much for watching, and I will see you in another creature feature soon. Take care, guys. Bye.